All right, against the odds time, playing some glorious Super Friends in standard. And this hand, all right, we'll try this. Sheltered Thicket for our opponent. More glorious ends. Well, Cinderglade, go. Could use a Gideon. Scattered Grove. Oh, is this a cycling deck? Uh-oh. Cinderglade, go. Well, Glorious End is hilariously sweet, but if we don't have a way to stay alive, it's much less sweet. Another Shelter Thicket. There's a Gideon. Well, play the plains, pass the turn. Actually, I don't know if this deck... if this is New Perspectives, I don't know if this deck can beat... It is! I don't know if they can beat Glorious End. I think we can just let them do their thing and then Glorious End. Well, play an Ether Hub. Get an energy. Let's play Nahiri and get rid of the Weirding Wood. Pass the turn. Keep our opponent off their mana to combo off. Another Sheltered Thicket. Opponent passes. Well, tick up, discard Fumigate. Play a Gideon. Opponent's gonna crack their clue. Cracks the clue. Alright, so we Emblem Gideon. Play Sanctum. Pass the turn. So now I think we... I think we just win with Glorious End, even if our opponent has the combo. Traverse, gets an island, plays the island. So if they have an untapped land, they can go for it next turn. Well, what does our opponent have? There's a cast out. What are they hitting? Hits the Nahiri. I guess they have to, or else we just exile it. Well, I guess we beat down with Gideon. Play an Ether Hub, so we have double Glorious End. Pass the turn. Oh man, I'm really looking forward to this. Fortified Village. Ah, tapped. Alright. We passed our turn for nothing. Another Weirding Wood. Yep. Well, let's cast out. Get the cast out to get back Nahiri. Oh, so many Glorious Ends. Well, let's get rid of the Weirding Wood. Opponent cracks the clue. So we get in with Gideon. Hit our opponent. Play Scattered Grove. Pass the turn. I think we can just Glorious End for the win. Opponent cycles. Plays a tap land. Maybe they don't even have New Perspectives. Passes. Well, let's beat down with Gideon. Take up Nahiri. We'll just pitch Canopy Vista. Play the forest. Pass the turn. I don't think we got to do anything else. Cycles Haze. Plays a forest. Opponent passes. Take up Nahiri. Discard the mountain. Gideon for 4. Pass the turn. Opponent cycles. Cycles. It's so much more fun in response to New Perspectives, though. I mean, we could have just cast an upkeep and we probably would have won because of it. But it seems so sweet to counter New Perspectives. Or better yet, to just let our opponent counter off and then do it at the end. Oh man, that's brutal. That's such a brutal way to win. That's what... Oh man, it would be so funny, though. Opponent, no New Perspectives yet. We get an Oath of Nissa. Well, let's take up Nahiri, discard Nissa, fire up our Gideon. Our opponent has to do something here, we just win. Cast out. Okay. Hits our Gideon. So, Oath of Nissa. Another Gideon? Get another Gideon. Play a Gideon. Play a Needle Spires. Pass the turn. Cycle Censor. That's actually good. That means 3 Censors are down. Planes for our opponent. Oh man, is this it? 4, 5, 6... They don't have black mana. All right, let's let it go for a minute. Oh man, this is probably mean, but I really want to just fizzle this whole combo. All right, opponent cycles. With 3 Censors down, they shouldn't be able to counter what we're doing. They get a swamp. Cycles, cycles, cycles. Traverse for Vizier. I couldn't resist. Traverse for Vizier. Yep. Cycles Vizier. This is actually probably the correct play because it's going to get our opponent tapped out. So this is actually better because there is some world where we don't tap out, our opponent has more cast outs, they kill our Gideon, things go wrong. So this isn't just a troll play. This is actually the most correct play because we're making sure our opponent can't do this stuff forever, basically. Because once we stop the combo, they just literally can't win the game for the rest of the game. When if we just fired off an upkeep Glorious End, if they could fog Gideon, do it again the next turn, cast out Gideon, whatever. So I think this has got to be the correct play. And also the funniest play. So we could just do it right now. Alright, we'll wait. We'll wait till after when they go to cast Shadow of the Grave here. Actually, is this discarded? Alright, this is pretty good. We'll do this. While our opponents, actually no, that doesn't work. So we gotta keep waiting now. Shadow of the Grave with mana floating. Yes. Untaps. Taps. Untaps. Oh, this is the most brutal way to beat New Perspectives. Oh my god. Untaps. Vizier. Taps. Untaps. Cast out. Cast outs are Gideon. Okay. Shadow of the Grave. Here goes the mana production. Taps untaps. Taps untaps. Oh man. The end result of this is going to be so hilarious. I almost feel bad, but not really. That's the risk you take playing combo in a Glorious End format. Never know when you're going to get punished by Glorious End. And our opponent's going to get maximum punishment here. There's probably a window where we could have done this, but now our opponents had mana floating where they could Shadow of the Grave in response to get back all their Viziers and then just go off again the next turn. So we haven't, unless we were just going to fizzle their whole turn, I don't feel like we had a window. I guess the time we could have done it would have been when they went to cast Weirding Wood. It wouldn't have got all their stuff, but it probably would have been fine, because they were essentially tapped out then. But after that point, we haven't really had a window where we could do it safely. Oh man, can we just Glorious End our turn? Glorious End our opponent's turn. Glorious End our turn. They mill themselves out. Is that how this is gonna go? Oh, there's Approach. Okay, opponent goes up to 11. Oh man, this is gonna be so good. Approach is the bottom card. Oh my goodness. My goodness, my goodness. It's the dream matchup. Opponent taps on taps. Taps on taps. Yep. They're playing the combo well. Taps on taps. Oh man, this is brutal. This is so brutal. Opponent's got the mana. They just gotta cycle till they get the Glorious End. Alright, they cycle the Vizier. Sure. Cycles. One card. Last card. Approach. Cycles. 0 cards. Oh man, here it comes. Here it comes. Approach. Glorious End. Oh my god. Opponent's gotta discard everything. Oh, and they scoop it up. Oh my goodness, that was so brutal. Well, we found the Glorious End matchup. It is absurdly good here. Go down our Fumigates, go down our Cast Outs. We'll go down the Sweltering Suns. Let's try it like this. Oh. Oh, that might have been mean and wrong, but oh goodness. Alright. We'll keep this. We got some Planeswalkers. We got a negate, but not the mana to cast it yet. Even if we don't win another game, that made Glorious End worth it. Oh man. It seems so good in this matchup. Opponent plays a Scattered Grove. Spiring Vantage. Let's just play Channeler Initiate. Pass the turn. Opponent has their Swamp. And passes. I'll play the Forest. Play Gideon. Opponent cycles. Well, let's make a 2/2. Pass the turn. Fetid Pools for our opponent. Play an Oath of Nissa. Get Nahiri. Play an Oath of Nissa. Get a Gideon. Play Cinderglade. Fire up Gideon. And go attacking. This is a pretty fast clock for our opponent's deck. Jeez, if they don't have something, I think we just win. Oh, now I think we win. Let's negate Weirding Wood. Now our opponent can't Fog. So play Ether Hub. Jeez. Turn 5 kill. Play Chandra. 6 power. 11 power. 13 power? That should be Exaxes. Sweet. Well, a glorious end win and just the turn 5 Planeswalker beatdown. Whoo! Oh man, that first game though. That first game. Sweet. Alright, against the odds time. Playing some glorious mulligans in standard. Alright, this hand somewhat reasonable, depending on the matchup. Forest, we will keep on top. We do want the lands. Play Sheltered Thicket, pass the turn. Concealed Courtyard for our opponent. Alright, looks like we are up against zombies. Well, Forest, Oath of Nissa. This feels bad, but I think we have to take the plains. Really want Gideon to go with this glorious end, but I think plan A here is to fumigate, and then try to set things up after that. Opponent has a swamp. Also, black-white zombies, much less likely to have Relentless Dead, which means our fumigate's going to be much better than against mono black. Still good against mono black, but not as good. Just kidding. Never mind. I still got Relentless Dead. Alright. Play the Blades, pass the turn. There's Lord of the Accursed. Could use another white source. Opponent gets in. Servant. Well, play Nahiri. Do we have to tick up? I think so. Discard. Glorious End and draw Gideon. We're basically just trying to find the mana we need to fumigate. Opponent has Westful Abbey. Oh, man. Oh, man. More lords. Nahiri, us. We're pretty much dead on board. I don't even think we have an untapped white source to draw. Oath of Nissa gets us tapped white source. Needle Spires. Well, I guess in theory we can, if our opponent has nothing, Gideon of Trials. Emblem. Opponent attacks Gideon. Yeah, we die, so we have to tick up on Relentless Dead. And theoretically, this puts us to 1 if our opponent doesn't have more lords. Just going at us. Changes her mind. Gonna go at Gideon. Alright, kills Gideon. Hits us for 3. Now we're actually kind of hoping our opponent plays something. Nope. I mean, we're going to fumigate. I don't think it does it, though. And get back the Relentless Dead. Opponent correctly did not play anything there. So I think we still just lose. Oh, man, there was a lot of lords in that draw. Yep, opponent gets back the lord. We're at 11. There's Relentless Dead. Opponent gets in. 4-2. So we're not just dead, but we're still mostly dead. And I'm not sure there's anything we can do about it. Crypt Breaker to... Well, Nahiri, Exile Lord. We're fighting the good fight, but I can't see this working out in our favor. Tap land for our opponent. There's Diagraph. I guess drawing another Wrath. I don't even know if we have another Fumigate. I think we don't. I think the rest are in our sideboard. There goes Nahiri. Opponent passes. Well, play Nissa. Servant. Make a token. Pass the turn. Kills our Servant. Yeah, that does it. No sense in fighting without more Fumigates to draw into. Too far behind. So bring in the Fumigates. Bring in the Magma Sprays. Go down Cast Out. Go down a couple of Servants. Try it like that. So Needle Spires. Go. Swamp for our opponent. Alright, let's Sanctum and Channeler Initiate. Pass the turn. Can't imagine our opponent's leaving in pushes. Metallic Mimic. Yep. Well... Since we drew Gideon, I think the thing to do here is slam Gideon. So play Gideon, make a 2-2, pass the turn. There's the Lord of the Accursed. Well, let's make a 2-2, play Nissa, make a plant, play Sheltered Thicket, pass the turn. We might be far enough ahead in this one. There's Digraph Colossus for our opponent, and passes. Well, let's just keep making stuff. Make a plant. Make a 2-2. Play an Ether Hub. Pass the turn. Feel like we're in pretty good shape. Diagraph Colossus for our opponent. And a Crypt Breaker. Well, now it might be time. I think it is time to just fumigate. Opponent passes. Magma Spray. Yeah, let's just fumigate. So fumigate, clear the board, gain a ton of life. Make a plant. And I think we're going to get in with Gideon. Put our opponent to 15. Pass the turn. Conceal Courtyard for our opponent. And Metallic Mimic. Opponent passes. Another Glorious End. Good God. We might go for it. Let's fire up our Gideon. Get in. Tick up Nissa. Pass the turn. See what our opponent does. We might just fire off a Glorious End to counter something here. Anguish Unmaking. Yeah, that counts. So let's Glorious End. Ultimate Nissa. Draw 5, gain 5. Fire up Gideon. Get in with Gideon. Play Gideon of the Trials, Emblem, play Canopy Vista, pass the turn. No dying for us. Opponent plays a Swamp. Looks like Glorious End's gonna get there this game. Another Anguish Unmaking. Sure. Opponent drops to 3. Scrap Heap Scrounger. Opponent's out of cards. That should do it. So just Magma Spray Mimic. And yep. We can win with Needle Spires, pump up our tokens, any number of ways. Sweet! Well, Glorious End. Glorious that game. And okay. This is reasonably fine. Mana's a little awkward. There's a Crypt Breaker. Our nemesis. Awkward. Well, let's Ether Hub and Oath of Nissa. Hopefully find some regular mana. Needle Spires isn't the best. It does potentially get us to Fumigate. It also means we can't play Channeler Initiates. Relentless Dead for our opponent. Forest off the top. That's what we really want. Down to 19. And passes. Not a forest. Well, we'll see. This is looking a bit clunky. Pass the turn. There's a Westville Abbey. And Lord. Whew. Whew, whew, whew. That is a pretty fast draw. Our mana is going to get us here. Not having energy for this Ether Hub. Maybe it was wrong to run out Oath of Nissa. Well, another Ether Hub. Let's play in Nissa. Hope that this distracts our opponent from killing us. Make a plant. Pass the turn. Fumigate's looking a bit slow. That is the downside of 5 mana Wraths. 4 mana Wrath here would be great. 5 mana Wrath, probably not fast enough. Alright. Well, opponent's going after Nissa, so our distraction plan did work. Untap land would be awesome. Mimic. Oh, goodness. How long can we keep living? I think we just need to Channeler Initiate, play Needle Spires, pass the turn. Would have liked to untap land Nahiri there, get rid of Relentless Dead, but this line makes sure we can Fumigate next turn, which seems pretty important here. Opponent gets in. Well, we're going to chump with a plant. Down to 9. Come on, tap out. Grasp on Channeler Initiate. Playing untap land. I think we got to take a risky line here, and that is Nahiri. Exile Relentless Dead. Pass the turn. Oh, this is actually a lethal line. Oops. Alright. I'll take the punt for that one. I guess we had to just Fumigate there. I was not accounting for the Crypt Breaker zombie. Yep. Yep. Alright. We should have just Fumigated. Oops. My bad. Don't be too mean. Alright, against the odds time. We're playing some glorious Super Friends in Standard. And, got the combo. Wombo combo. Let's just Oath of Nissa. Grab a Canopy Vista. Pass the turn. We can cast our Gideon thanks to Oath of Nissa. Blooming Marsh for our opponent. And passes. Chandra's probably good. Canopy Vista, go. There's a Swamp for our opponent. And a Long Tusk Cub. Well, Gideon should be a pretty good answer to that. Play Gideon. Tick up on the Cub. And pass the turn. There's an Ether Hub. And a Siphoner. Yep. Opponent passes. Well, tick up on the Cub. Play Scattered Groves. Pass the turn. I think our long-term plan here is to get this Chandra down and sweep the board. Opponent going to draw? Yep. Draws with Glint Sleeve. Opponent gets in. 4-2. At our Gideon. Yep. There's a Walking Ballista for our opponent. Immediately cracks it. Do they have a Bone Picker? Are we getting picked? That's a Bone Picker. Fair enough. Well, that's Oath of Nissa. Kinda just want to land. Yeah, let's take Canopy Vista. Play Canopy Vista. So I think we got to take up on Long Tusk Cub. Because we really need this Chandra to be a full-on Wrath. Hopefully we find another Gideon in the not-too-distant future. Opponent gets in. 4-2. Kills our Gideon. Another Long Tusk Cub. Oh, man. It's good Chandra time. Playing Ether Hub. No red mana. No problem. Thanks to Oath. Let's play a Chandra. And -3. Sweep the board. And pass the turn. We have the Glorious End in hand. We don't have an emblem to protect us yet. There's the Verdurous Gearhulk. Counters up the Gearhulk. Yeah, let's zero Chandra. Alright, well, that worked out. We get a Gideon to target the Gearhulk. We did have to discard all of our Glorious Ends, unfortunately. But we got a couple more to draw into. Play in Nissa. Make a token. Cinderglade and go. Opponent passes. There's a Tune. Walking Ballista, X2. Alright, they can kill our Chandra, which is what I assume is about to happen. Yep, Chandra down. Bona passes. Well, tick up on Gear Hulk. Play Nahiri. Discard Canopy Vista. Play Needle Spires. Make a plant. Main thing we're worried about here is our opponent finding another Gear Hulk to put a bunch of counters on Ballista. Long Tusk Cub. It's not on the worry list. Opponent goes attacking. Well, we'll chump. Opponent passes. Good Chandra means we get to get rid of this Ballista. And our opponent scoops it up. Sweet! Well, we had to discard our Glorious Ends, but we're winning. I think we want more removal. Couple Fumigates, maybe Magma Sprays, possibly Glory Bringer. If we can find room, go down Sweltering Suns. Go down Cast Out. Go down Archangel, a Servant, and one ally as Zendikar. Try it like that. Alright, we're on the draw, and we'll try this. We got some ramp, some Nissas to gum up the board, Fumigate if everything goes wrong. So, Scattered Groves, go. There's a forest for our opponent. And Winding Constrictor. Inspiring Vantage, and, let's lead on Servant of the Conduit. Opponent gets in with the snake. Yep. Down to 18. Transgress the Mind. Yep, takes Fumigate. And a Rampager. Well, let's play a Nissa, make a plant, play a tap land, pass the turn. Another forest for our opponent. Here comes Elephant, ticking around this time. Well, we'll just chump the snake. Long Tusk Cub. And there's the Fatal Push. Well, our opponent's down to one card. Let's start with Oath of Nissa. Do some digging. Take Gideon. Play a Mountain. Play Channeler Initiate. Make a plant. And pass the turn. Still gonna need another Fumigate, I think. There's a Swamp. Opponent's down to one card. What is the one card? Transgress to take our Gideon. Everything at Nissa. Well, let's just block Rampager. Nissa drops to 1. More Nissas. Oh, make a plant. Play an Ether Hub. Get an energy. Pass the turn. Oh, opponent's just doing even more attacking. Fires up the Hissing Quagmire. Alright. Well, Nissa down. We take 3. Remove a counter. Let's play in Nissa. Make a plant. Gideon. Tick up on Rampager. Wow! Opponent just fires off the Blossoming Defense. Here's Hissing Quagmire. Alright, everything at Gideon. So Gideon down. Magma Spray is actually a pretty sweet draw. Let's tick down our Nissa and pass the turn. Our stuff's actually getting big enough to block. Walking Ballista X2. Ooh. Gonna get big thanks to Winding Constrictor. Opponent. Everything at us. Oh my goodness. Well, do they really have another Blossoming Defense? This could lead to a blowout. I think this is the blocks, though. Opponent lets it go. Bone Picker. Okay. Now they're going to kill our Nissa. Yep. We'll play a Nissa. Make a plant. Pass the turn. Opponent goes at Nissa. Yep. Down to 1. Alright. Now we got a Magma Spray. Opponent's going to ping our Nissa down. And let's see if we can draw something. Play the Mountain. Pass the turn. Well, actually, let's main phase cycle. We could cycle into a Planeswalker. It is a Planeswalker. There's a Rishkar. Pumps up the Dorks. And another Rampager. Well, we really need to find a Fumigate. Another Rampager. Opponent gets in for 4. Well, play Nissa. Get back a Gideon. Pass the turn. At least the Gideon can stop Bone Picker. There's a Rampager. Opponent. Alright. We got a chump here, I think. Chump Rampager. Nissa down. Opponent passes. Magma Spray. Well, let's Gideon. Tick up on the Bone Picker. Opponent drawing those Blossoming Defenses like crazy. Alright, well, I think we're to draw Fumigate this turn or lose. Opponent has his Quagmire. Everything at us? Well, block there. Block there. Actually, block there, block there. Magma Spray the land. Drop to 1. We gotta draw something. Plains. I think this sorta buys us a turn. So tick up on Bone Picker. Legend Rule our own Gideon. Make a 2/2. Pass the turn. Well, one more turn to draw Fumigate. Or Chandra, maybe? I don't think Chandra... Well, Chandra kind of does it. Attune gets a land, plays the land. Opponent goes at us. Block, block. Well, make a 2-2. Gideon, Legend Rule Gideon. Take up Gideon on Bone Picker. Pass the turn. I don't feel like we're making much headway Legend Ruling our Gideons every turn. A Glorious End could be sweet. A Glorious End would also buy us a turn. It doesn't make us win, but it does buy us a turn. Block and block. Either up for our opponent. Well, you gotta draw something again. Needle Spires. And that does it. Too many Gideons, too few other things. Well, let's bring in the 4th Fumigate, because that seems so good. And go down a Magma Spray. Try it like that. Alright, we get to play first. Well, alright. Gideon. Cinderglade, go. Forest for our opponent, and Attune with Ether. Opponent passes. Well, let's Oath of Nissa. Get Chandra. Cinderglade, pass the turn. And there's a Blooming Marsh. And an Attune. Opponent passes. Well, play a Sanctum. Pass the turn. Probably going to cycle Shelter Thicket. Another land for our opponent. And a Rampager. Yep. Opponent passes. So, cycle Shelter Thicket. Nissa. And Inspiring Vantage. Well, play the Forest. Gideon, number 1. Make a 2-2. Pass the turn. There's a Swamp for our opponent. Gets in it, Gideon. Well, let's block. There's a Bone Picker. We get so blown out by Blossoming Defense. Well, let's make a 2-2. Play a Mountain. Nissa. Untap a land. And let's just pass. Protect our Planeswalkers. Verdurous Gearhulk can be a huge blowout if it puts all the counters on Bone Picker. That's just like the Planeswalker Assassin. Opponent. What Planeswalker are they going after? Probably gotta be Nissa. Goes after Gideon? Okay. Hits Gideon. Ballista. Pings us. Kills Gideon. Well, we're going to Emblem. Start drawing some cards. Emblem, so Inspiring Vantage, draw a card. Let's Oath of Nissa. Think we take a land. And let's take Ether Hub. Play Chandra. Kill the Bone Picker. Pass the turn. Well, hopefully this card draw will stabilize us. Opponent sends everything at us. We take it. Down to 14. Pumps Ballista. Gonna kill the Chandra by the looks. Ping Chandra. Well, play Cinderglade. Draw a card. Play Oath of Nissa. Big Chandra could be good as well. Alright, more Chandras. Play Chandra. Kill a Rampager. Pass the turn. Tap land for our opponent. Tax us. And we'll chump this time. We should win the long game thanks to drawing 2 cards a turn. We are burning through Planeswalkers. Opponent shoots Chandra. Chandra down. And a Bone Picker. Oh, play Ether Hub. Draw a card. Servant. Play Gideon. Make it 2-2. Servant. And pass the turn. We haven't found a single Glorious End yet either. Or combo Gideon. Gets in it, Gideon. Oh, this Ballista's been so annoying. Gideon down to 1. Opponent can put a counter on Ballista. Ping it down. Yep, there's the counter. Pings our Gideon. And a Long Tusk Cub. Well, cycle Scattered Groves. There's a Glory Bringer and Nahiri. Play Ether Hub. Draw a card, get some energy. And then Glory Bringer. Attack, exert, kill Ballista. Opponent pings us. That's fine. So opponent's down to 16. Nahiri, get rid of Bone Picker. Pass the turn. We might have stabilized. Opponent attacks with both. Well, block and block. Inspiring Vantage. Well, take up, discard Inspiring Advantage. Play the Mountain. Mono Nissa.hand. Nissa, make a plant. Pass the turn. This has ended up being a crazy match. There's Verdurous Gearhulk. Yep, splits up the counters. Goes in Nahiri. We block. I'll play Canopy Vista. Draw a card. Take up Nahiri. Discard Nissa. There's a Fumigate. That's what we wanted. So get in with Glory Bringer. Exert. Hit Rampager. Fumigate. Get rid of the Gearhulk. Make a plant. Pass the turn. Whew! This has been quite the battle, but I think we just turned the corner. Winding Constrictor. Yep. Play the Plains. Draw a card. Another Fumigate. Take up Nahiri. Discard Nissa. There's Glorious End. We can't play it yet, though. Make a plant. Pass the turn. Rishkar. Well, Magma Spray Rishkar. Snake gets big. Opponent passes. There's a Gideon. That makes it easy. So play a Gideon, emblem Gideon, take up Nahiri, discard Fumigate, get another one, make a plant, pass the turn. Now we can end the turn on our opponent's turn if we need to, if they play something. We can also ultimate Nissa next turn to draw a ton of cards. Opponent passes. We get a forest. Well, ultimate Nissa, draw a ton of cards. We do need to win before we run out of time. Play a Channeler Initiate. Time is kind of a concern. Play a land. Draw a card. Oh, we did this backwards. Play Fumigate. Play Channeler Initiate. Oh, that was so sloppy. Fire up Gideon. Get in. Take up Nahiri. Discard a land. Pass the turn. Discard, 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 discard. Alright. Now we should be able to just end the turn until we win. Glorious End, gonna come through. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Glorious End the turn. Fire up Gideon. Well, it took us a while, but we got there. Get in with Gideon. Opponent blocks with Hissing Quagmire. Alright, we'll just do it on our opponent's upkeep. Opponent blocks. Pass the turn. No dying. Glorious End our opponent's turn. Fire up Gideon. Get in with Gideon. 33 seconds left. Hit our opponent. It took some doing. Glorious End. We don't die. We got a Gideon. Opponent untaps. Glorious End. 3 in a row with another one in hand. Fire up our Gideon. And we got the GGs. Glorious End. Right in a nick of time. They were all at the bottom of our deck. But chaining them together to close out the game with Gideons. Oh man, that is pretty much how we drew it up. A long drawn out battle. What really made that game is our opponent letting us ultimate our Nissa. They could have given up a Walking Ballista to ping it and keep it from emblemming. I don't know if that would have prevented it in the long term. Maybe it would have, maybe it would not have. But good God, what a game! Oh, Glorious End. I was getting worried because Glorious End, we never drew it and it wasn't doing anything because we didn't draw it, but it came through at the very end of the game. Sweet. Whoo! Alright, against the odds time, playing some glorious Super Friends in Standard. Alright, let's just lead on Botanical Sanctum and Pestern. Forest for our opponent. Well, Ether Hub, getting energy. And Servant of the Conduit. Well, we drew a Nissa, which isn't bad. Ether Hub for our opponent. Yep. And Servant of the Conduit. Well, I think we better just play a Nissa, make a token, Cinderglade, and Pestern. Could use a Gideon so we could start firing off Glorious Ends. Lathnu Helion for our opponent. Opponent going at us? Okay, we'll block. I guess. Sure. Down to 18. Not interested in the Nissa. Well, make a token. Play Cinderglade. I think we're just going to pass. We might actually just want to Fumigate here. Opponent. Going at us. Can't really Glorious End until we find Gideon. I guess we could do it for one turn, but oh, it's super risky. Alright, down to 16. We'll take Brawler. Alright. Goes to end of turn. Oh boy. Let's just make a plant. Play a Servant. And pass the turn. So we can Glorious End now if we need to. Opponent has a Tune, which can help keep Lathnu Helion alive. Was a little worried about a random negate or something getting us there. Goes attacking. Going at us. Alright, that's... If they don't care about Nissa, we don't care about blocking. Actually, we will chump Lathnu Helion. But we'll take 4. That's fine. Opponent goes Pump Spells. Yep. Alright. We drop to 5? I guess that's fine. Opponent passes. Make a plant token. Let's pass. Let's pass. Leave up our Glorious Ends. Was trying to cast Gideon with mana of any color, but we don't have our Oath of Nissa at the moment. Harness Lightning, our Servant. Well, I think now is the time. Glorious End. Save ourselves. End the turn. I don't think our opponent understands how Glorious End works. Oh no, not another Pump Spell opponent. Oh, Fling. Well, that almost got us. Thankfully, we left up 2 Glorious Ends. Oh my god. So now we get to play Gideon, Emblem Gideon, play the land, Ultimate Nissa, draw 5, go up to 10. Oh, that's easy. We drew another Glorious End. So pass the turn, stop on our opponent's upkeep. We do not lose the game, thank goodness. Stop on our opponent's upkeep, end the turn. Nice thing I realized about upkeep Glorious End, our opponent does not get to draw their card for the turn. We draw land. So take up Gideon on Brawler. Canopy Vista, pass the turn. We do have some white mana troubles, but I think that's fine. We have used 3 Glorious Ends, so we only have 1 left to find, but oh man, they were super good! It's so inopportune for opponents when they just have to end their turn. Opponent passes. Now let's just take up Gideon, play Sanctum, pass the turn. Well, what's our opponent got? Opponent just passes. More lands. Well, take up Gideon, play Needle Spires, pass the turn. I don't think we gotta be in a hurry here. We could be like legend ruling our Gideons or, I don't know, attacking with Gideons. There's a Pummeler. Cycling Cast Out might be a bit greedy. We're gonna do it. Cycle Cast Out. More Gideons. Ooh. Yeah, let's just Fumigate. Fumigate, clear the board. And now we can start beating down with Gideon. And then next turn, we can Exquisite Archangel for even more protection from like the Fling combo. We'll just play Ether Hub. Pass the turn. Glorious End's actually super sweet. It definitely saved us there. There aren't many cards that would have saved us in that position. Opponent goes after Gideon. Well, they're going to kill Gideon. Alright, Gideon down. Well, that's fine. We have a million Gideons in hand. I think we're just going to play Exquisite Archangel. Ether Hub, and pass the turn. Can't imagine that our opponent's going to easily kill us through Exquisite Archangel. Alright, Harness Lightning. So it is going to get rid of the Archangel. Opponent gets in. This does use our last 2 energy. And we're still at 12. Well, play the Mountain. Play Gideon. Emblem Gideon. Play Channeler Initiate. We have the dueling Gideon emblems going. Play another Gideon of the Trials. And take up on Brawler. Pass the turn. Opponent. Going at us. Okay. We have a Gideon, so we can't die. Flings us down to 4. Or kills Gideon. Scattered Grove. Well, let's cycle that. Another land. Play a Mountain. Gideon number million. Make a 3/3 ally. And pass the turn. And we still have a Gideon out for Emblem Protection. Opponent passes. Well, remove a counter. Pump up our Initiate a bit. And let's fire at Needle Spires. Do some attacking. Not going to go all in. Go somewhat conservative. And make a token. Pass the turn. So, well, our opponent should be dead next turn. Tune with Ether. Gets our opponent some energy. Opponent. I think they're still just dead. Opponent passes. Well, let's go for it. Fire up Gideon. Needle Spires. Tag with everything. This should do it. Oh, our opponent has something. Watch our opponent Glorious End us back. Alright, just Invigorating Rampage on our Needle Spires. Oh, Glorious End! Steals the win. Yeah, sweet. We probably want Fumigates and Magma Sprays. Going down, Cast Outs. We can go down 1 Big Gideon, a Servant, Exquisite Archangel. Try it like that. Alright, on to game 2 against Green-Red Energy. And this is fine. We got a Fumigate. There's an Ether Hub for our opponent. And passes. Well, Canopy Vista, go. Does our opponent have a threat? Not yet. Well, that's Oath of Nissa. Planeswalker Heaven. I think we'll take Big Nissa. We already have Nahiri in Little Nissa. Cinderglade, go. Man, we can just play Planeswalkers every turn. Opponent has Pummeler. Worth mentioning that Gideon would not keep us alive from a fling if our opponent could somehow fling Pummeler at us, because the damage is coming from the fling. Lathnu Helion for our opponent. That can take out our Gideon. Good Planeswalker Assassin. Yup. Gideon down. No emblem either. Jeez, opponent lets it go. I'll play Ether Hub and just play a Nissa. Make a plant, pass the turn. We'll have to see. We might find a window to kill Pummeler. Opponent has a forest. Goes to combat. Attacks us. Well, we'll block. I guess the question is, how many pump spells do they have? Oh, I guess the answer is 0. Well, let's try to Magma Spray here. Opponent might be able to save it. There's Blossoming Defense. Well, Nahiri. Hopefully our opponent does not have another Blossoming Defense. Go after Pummeler again. Alright, Pummeler down. Now I think we're fairly stable. Opponent passes. Well, take up Nahiri. I think we just discard Fumigate, actually. Sweltering Suns. Play the land. Take up Nissa. Pass the turn. Another land for our opponent. Let's cycle Sweltering Suns. There's a Chandra. Take up Nahiri. Discard Fumigate. Oh, another one. We just need a Gideon. Take up Nissa. Alright, we're just going to pass, not do anything. Next turn, we can technically Glorious End here if we really have to. Looks like we don't have to. Opponent passes. Well, let's first take up Nahiri. Discard Chandra. Channeler Initiate. Ultimate Nissa. There's a Gideon. Play a Gideon. Emblem. Play Canopy Vista. And we're just going to play super conservative and pass here. Discard a couple Channeler Initiates. Opponent has Pummeler. Sure. And passes. Take up Nahiri. Discard Cinderglade. Get a Forest. Play the Plains. Take up on Pummeler. Play Servant of the Conduit. And pass the turn. Leave up double Glorious End again. Attune. Gets our opponent more energy. Plays a Mountain. Opponent passes. Even more Glorious Ends. Well, take up Gideon. Play Chandra. Take up Chandra. And we'll just hit our opponent. Play the Forest. Take up Nahiri. Discard Oath of Nissa. Pass the turn. I think the end is nigh. Oh, our poor opponent. Yeah. Let's end the turn. So Glorious End number 1 goes back to our turn. We get to take up Nahiri. Discard Sanctum. Take up Gideon. Take up Chandra. Hit our opponent, play a Plains, play Big Nissa, take up Nissa. This deck, look at the glorious Super Friends. Oh man, this is so sweet. Alright, I guess we attack. And now we just do this 2 more turns and ultimate our Planeswalkers. Oh, Glorious End is so good. Uh-oh. Invigorated Rampage. Yep. This isn't going to work still, because we have more Glorious Ends. Fling. Well, you know what? I think we better just end the turn. Well, it's your upkeep opponent? You know what? I think we had the turn. Oh, so many Glorious Ends. And now we get to take up Gideon, or turn on Gideon, animate a land, take up Chandra, attack with everything, and Glorious Ends! Taking it down! Oh, it's so sweet in the late game when we could just chain 3 or 4 of them together. It's so sweet. Oh man, it's kind of working. So what do we learn this week about glorious Super Friends in Standard? And overall, the deck did really well. So first off, caveat, we only got in 4 matches, less than usual. That's because some of the matches went really long. The Green-Black Energy match, unedited by itself, was almost an hour. So there was a lot of long, time-consuming matches. The New Perspectives combo, that stuff just ate up a lot of time. So I try to keep the episodes about 45 minutes-ish, and we just couldn't squeeze in any more without going way over time. So we ended up with a 3-1 record, which 75% match win percentage. We also ended up winning about 70% of our games. We won 7 out of 10, so exactly 70% of our games. As far as, like, the matchups, we played Green-Black Energy, Green-Red Energy. Those are both known decks. Green-Black Energy, top 80 of the Pro Tour. It was that build with Bone Picker. Green-Red Energy, been around for a while. Mono Black Zombies won the Pro Tour. Of course, we didn't win that match, but we did go 1-2 in the loss. We got a game off of them, so it doesn't feel unwinnable. If we get a good draw and their draw is not super great. And then New Perspectives combo, of course, which is just awesomely hilarious against Glorious End. So, as far as Glorious End, what do we really learn about the card? And mostly you get a lot of surprise value. there were two things we really did with Glorious End. One is we got surprise value. The highlight of that was New Perspectives, where we just let our opponent combo off. They thought they were going to win the game, no cards in their library. Then we just Glorious End and win the game. The other thing we could do was chain it together to actually win the game. So in the late game, we'll eventually get the Gideon, get the Emblem, get some Planeswalkers on the battlefield to be taking up, and then we can just like Glorious End, pump up all our Planeswalkers, attack with our Gideons, etc. Next time our opponent untaps, Glorious End again, do it all over again, ultimate some Planeswalkers, get in more damage, Glorious End again. So that worked really well, and that was kind of the main plan of the deck, was to get the Planeswalker value, because what are you going to do with extra turns in Standard? That was a big question with Glorious End. Apart from not dying with Gideon, and also our Exquisite Archangel, which wasn't that good, but we tried it. It's the other way to use and live through a Glorious End in Standard, so I'm glad we tried it out, but it's not that competitive. So Gideon Glorious End is the combo, but what else do you do with it? And I think Planeswalkers are a pretty sweet option because you get that repeatable advantage every turn. It's one of the best ways to abuse an extra turn because it's almost like you have 4 or 5 cards in your hand that don't cost anything when you have multiple Planeswalkers on the battlefield, because you get to get the ability of a card or the effect of a card every single turn, so it works really well with the skipping our opponent's turn. We also just got this sweet, like, surprise value. New Perspectives, I mentioned, was a great example. Surviving Flings, where our opponent was going to kill us, another great example. The thing with the surprise value is, if Glorious End ever caught on, which is probably unlikely, I mean, it does require a lot of building around, and there is risk involved. We never got blown out, but we definitely could have gotten blown out in some situations if our opponent could have cast out our Gideon or something. So I don't think it'll ever be tier or anything, but if it does start seeing play to any extent, the surprise value is going to get less. The value that's going to stick around no matter what is the Planeswalker value of just being able to use a ton of Planeswalkers every turn. And that plan worked really well and was super sweet. And overall, the Planeswalker plan seemed pretty good. We're good at gumming up the board. We're good at kind of out-grinding a lot of decks. You saw that against Energy. You saw it to some extent in the game we won against Zombies. So we can really grind with those decks. The problem I would see would be this deck would be Ulamog and the Aetherworks Marvel decks. Anyway, that's been our Against the Odds for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.